Hey, what's up, everybody? How we all doing? It is that time of the year where we all question sanity and try to figure out what the heck is going on with the RLCS offseason. And I figured what better way than give us a halftime or a halfway point. The season ended middle of August, and we're assuming that it's coming back roughly in early January, maybe first, second weekend of January, if I had to guess. Because of that, we're right about in the middle. And because of that as well, I figured why not give you guys a what if? What if the team's locked in right now? What if we had all of our rosters committed and ready to go for the upcoming season? What would that look like? Who would be the best? Who would we assume is going to perform the best? And where the heck is Justin going? I think it's all pretty topical, so I figured we would compile it. Forewarning, this video is going to probably be a little bit longer. We're going to try to leave this as unedited as possible, unless there's really long breaks and gaps and stuff in what's going on. But we're going to try to crush through these, and because we're trying to crush through these all from memory, there's going to be mistakes. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to force myself to make decisions that I probably don't want to, and hopefully my chat helps me. So if you guys want to join these in the future, twitch.tv/Lawler. We will do an update of one of these at the end of the season. We're doing one for both NA and EU, and if you want to make sure you don't miss out on the EU one, make sure you like, subscribe, notifications, all that kind of stuff, and check that out. But with that said, let's jump over to the other screen as we try to one-take this video so I don't have to do any editing. With that in mind, let's start compiling these rosters. Chat, feel free to throw out names, the confirmed ones, the ones that you guys know, as I try to, through the brain, go through these. So we know we have apparently Jack. We've got Chronic, First Killer's newcomer, and we're good there. We then have G2, which is Atomic, Daniel, and Beast Mode. Now, as I go through these as a confirmation chat, this is as if they are locked in. This is based upon the rumors that we've been hearing, the confirmations, and some that are still rumored that we aren't sure on yet. But we're saying, hey, trade window's done. This is what we've got. This is what we're going with. Space Station Gaming, we'll get back to you. Shopify Rebellion. We've got, you guys said Claverity. Claverity just released Oath, so who knows what's going to be their third. You've got NRG. You've got Furia. Complexity. You've got the Muffin Men. It's a good shout. You've got Dignitas. God, who else are we thinking, chat? M80. We've got M80. Hey, bro. This is where it's going to get a little bit more luminosity. You've got the rumored Ghost Gaming, which I think is that Pirates on a Boat team, if I remember correctly. Boulevard. Yes, Matey instead of M80. How'd you know? I don't think FaZe is going to persist, so I'm not going to put them up there. The Boys, we'll call them that for now, because I do know they've been trying out, which is the Drees Percy combination with third. A decent amount of teams here, chat. Let's fill these out and try to finalize where some of these are going. So we all know it's Squishy, Gimmick, and Aqua. Dig has Evo, Space Station, LJ, Oxer, third. Maybe Arsenal. We'll try to discover that. We got Parth and Two Piece. My personal opinion, I think Justin goes there. I think it's a fantastic fit. I think he should probably look between Space Station, Shopify. What it's going to be, I don't know. Claverity, you've got T. Carell. J-Pow was Oath, now it's not. Energy, you got Garrett G. Frosty is what it sounds like, and something else. Furia has confirmed Jaffinho is their new one. I think that's how you spell his name. And then you've got Jan and Lost. Complexity, no longer AJG. You got Raise Bowl. That's the whole team is not Raise Bowl. Raise Bowl, CRR, and gosh, who are they going with? Have they confirmed their roster yet? They haven't. Chat, what was the rumor? Dorito? They tried out Tazai and it did not go well. M80, we've got rumors of AJ, Jorias, and third. Hey bro is Wavy, Creams. This is not, there's so many roster moves going on. It's so tough to keep track of this. And Hockey, who doesn't get enough credit. And yet, I'm already forgetting. We got Reddles, Magic Bear, and third. Yeah, Andy Toasty and Cheese. That's it. Boulevard is Alraz, Delta, and Repeat. So that's where we're at now. Now we have free agents to fill in. All those are going to find something together potentially. We haven't literally heard anything about Typical. My assumption is he's done. So that gives us what? 8 players to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That and 8. Oh god, that works out perfectly. Okay, so with these 8 players, let's make a roster. Space Station, we haven't seen them compete with anybody. I think this becomes ours. Let's think Energy. What do you guys think? Energy either goes Mist or they go Chicago. Mist or Chicago, what do you guys think? They just played with Mist. I'm going with Mist. I think that they just played with him. We'll go with the most recent just to make this simple so we don't waste a bunch of time. Luminosity. Redo's Magic Bearer. I think all the rumors are pointing at Calm. Dignitas, I wouldn't be surprised if it is Arsenal in Chicago. Maybe. Maybe. I think that there's potential for that. Now we look at these 3. Claverity could go Sosa, Gyro, etc. Right? One of those rosters. M80, I'm sure is going to do something chaotic. I mean, if you're pulling these 2, who are you going to put with a third on that? I genuinely have no idea. They may go international. They may still... The rumor is NAS. So we'll pull that one out for the current rumor. Lock it in. NAS, what? Former SK Gaming, if I remember correctly. Which then leaves this one, I would have to assume, as JNAPS. Which I then look at this and go, how has no one picked up, to me, arguably one of the best free agents possible? Which I think is a sham. Now, if you guys watch my video that came out today, as of recording this live, I put out a video at 10 a.m. this morning. My team is this. This is free agent super team. That's what I want. Selfishly, that's what I want. If you guys are okay with that, I'm okay with putting this one together, and then we slot somebody else in the other spots. So we put somebody else here and somebody else here. But I don't know if we can do that. I don't know who we would pull from the free agent pool, who would be brought in. You may also see one of these teams be knocked out of our top 16. I think the difficulty is us when you talk about it, and I see a lot of people in chat discussing play styles wise, all that kind of stuff. What would it be? What would it look like? It gets pretty complicated. It actually is very difficult to try to identify who the right piece is. And that's something I wish the widespread community got more information on. How have scrims been going? What have the results been? Do we have scouts? Like, I would love to have the opportunity to sit in on all of these and be like, hey, I think things went this way. This stuff kind of went okay. All that kind of stuff. That to me would be pretty interesting to see how those all play out. Now, keep in mind, there's still conversation of how Arsenal may not leave. I don't think it'll go well. If he does, because they're like, hey, we want to try somebody new, and we saw how that went as professional as Calm can be with V1. I think it definitely created some turmoil. Whether you want to see it public facing or not, there's going to be a little bit of hesitation to full all-in commit and feel confident. You know, you got to do it as a proven, like, hey, I am that guy, and you're going to regret getting rid of me. So, which I think is where Nolly is. You know, he goes and dominates with K-Corp. All the K-Corp guys are like, he's the GOAT, pick him up. So, I personally want to take this and slot this in for a different team, and maybe bump out one of these other rosters as a top, you know, a top 16. It might be Boulevard, potentially, out of all those, because I know this team has been pretty dang good in scrims. But I want to do this, but I don't know what it's going to look like. So I do think he has to go somewhere. So for the sake of the argument of keeping it local, we'll do this. Okay. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I personally don't, but we have to put it in somewhere. Okay. With that in mind, who are our best teams of 1 through 16? This is going to be impossible. Let's crush through it. Number 1, I think, is G2 for now. Like, out of the gate, G2 just has it. If that's the roster, they're going to be probably the best performing in NA for a little bit until they get really challenged. Like, Genji is second. I think there's just too much talent. And while we don't have enough information on it, I do think that is a very competent team. I think given the right things in the way that they're going to approach the game, that'll be a very solid roster. Outside of that, I then look at Shopify Rebellion. Chat's same wavelength. A lot of potential. That Shopify team has been quite competitive, and I think there's a lot of potential for it. After that, I think it gets a little interesting. I would assume Complexity is still competitive. I'm going to do it just for their sake. They were super consistent last season. And I think them losing out on AJG is a massive flaw. Ooh, I might bump them down even further. Oh, that's tough. That's so tough. Furia is still NA. We don't know. There's a chance that Furia bumps out. We don't know if they're staying NA or not. We're just going based on what the current scenario is. I do like that Furia team. Let's go Furia 4. That'll make Jorby happy. From there, I think we can look at any of this and probably do... I think that Habro roster is actually pretty solid. We'll tweak those, but I know this team's been playing quite well. If M80 does have Noli, I think they'll be a major contender. But I don't think that's the place. The boys roster could be somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think they'll be somewhere in this area potentially. Luminosity. Actually, let's do this. I think they're going to be competitive, but they're going to be a pain in the butt to play against. And they're going to lack some stuff. Like Energy is somewhere in this area as well. Space Station might struggle. I think they're probably a little bit lower. Ooh. I think that Dignitas team has a lot of potential as well. What do we have left? I didn't put Complexity in here. I got to move Complexity. And then what do we have left? Energy there. That doesn't feel right. Energy's got to go higher. I think these get really tough to determine. I think these are all technically tied in the standings. Well, these are all technically tied in the standings. So out of the boys, Complexity, Luminosity, Muffin Man, and Energy, who would you say is the best performing out of all those? I think the boys is too high. I agree. So we're going to shift these down. I would say Energy has a lot of potential, but I would do this. And then I think it's complicated because these are all technically same results. It just depends on who your matchup is. Because all of these are performing at the exact, in like a double elimination and all that kind of stuff. These all knock out at the same time. So top 8 is basically the ones that we want to focus on. Those are the most important. The rest, you can mix and match, move up and down, all that kind of stuff. And you never know. Like, the reason why it's like I want to give the nod to some of these over others is like, hey, you guys have RLCS experience. You're a little bit more qualified. Like, I don't know. But this, I think, is very tough to do. I think it's a way too soon, way too early, which is why we're doing it. And the hardest part is we know that these rosters probably aren't the right thing. I still think you take this team and you put them somewhere in this area. I think that team's got so much potential, right? Take these, move them somewhere in here, if it happens, which then opens up the door for whatever these rosters are going to be. Because if you do that, then that's not filled, that's not filled, that's not filled. And that changes drastically on what the results would be, in my opinion. Again, this team is an absolute wild card. I have no idea how that team's going to do. So I think it's tough. I think that's the reason why we don't normally do this, but it's forcing the hand. So again, I don't want this video to be way too long on you guys, but I think there is some very interesting things that could potentially happen. So again, as I talked about in my video today, everybody is waiting on what this player is going to do. Justin is the determined. That is what we're waiting for. We have no idea. We have no idea. But him not getting signed, this one, Noli, not getting signed, is insanity. So whoever he decides to go with, whoever he picks up with, whatever he decides to move forward with, I think whatever he surrounds himself with has a chance to be successful. Selfishly, that's what I believe. I think Joseph is way too talented, and he proved it yet again with the recent flip and spin event. So I think there's a lot of question marks. But we're all waiting on Justin. If I had to bet, I'm thinking he's going to Shopify. I think Shopify is a really good place for him. But you just never know, chat. You just never know. So, I think a fun little experiment. And I think doing Europe is going to be even tougher. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, notifications. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. Let me know what you guys have for your rosters down. Try to build a list 1 through 16 or, your top 8, top 5. Who do you think early is going to majors? I think that's a little bit easier because I think when you start looking at outside of G2 Gen G, it's a little bit more difficult. Either way, appreciate you tuning in the video, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.